there once again, people, and welcome to yet another episode of, well, Seeking Shamblers. So this time around, we're going to be checking out a level called Entering CVZ's Basin, which is obviously made by CVZ. To be exact, to be made by Chris V. Zart, a guy I do not recognize the name of. But the interesting thing is the word basin, because after all, there is the one made by Jim Lowell, which was heavily frequented and included in the Aftershock regular version as DM1 and all that. So yeah, here's another one that's relatively similar, being another basin apparently, but has nothing to do with that level. At least I don't think so. Anyway, this is made on... let's see here, I think that'd be September 22nd of 1996. And this is basically just a deathmatch Quake map. But it does have single player, just to look around. So it's one of those. So yeah, I'm going to have to put it as a single player mission, even though it's not a single player mission. I hate when they do that. Why do they do that to me? This is really frustrating, really annoying, and there's really nothing I can really do about it. So yeah, just gotta... suck it up or whatnot. So anyway, yeah, let's see here. So this is a nice little deathmatch BSP that I made by modifying Basin. Oh, okay, so this is actually a modified version of the Jim Lowell level that we have seen with the Killer Editor thread. And he basically assumed it to be released tomorrow, so basically on September 23rd of 1996. Also the day he turned 16! What a coincidence! Anyway, this particular one was modified using Quest. And yeah, so this is really just a modified version of that level, apparently, that we are so used to, which normally modified levels wouldn't be a big deal or so, but we're talking about Basin, you know, DM1. We're talking about one of the most significant maps when it comes to, whatchamacallit, thread. One of the biggest Quake editors of 1996. So needless to say, for historical purposes, this level's not really that important, but at the same time it kinda is, because it's showing that basically Basin was getting enough recognition that people are modifying the level, and altering it and creating their own versions of it. So yeah, needless to say, it's kinda like Dalius's level, in the fact that it kinda shows not only that these levels existed, but which levels were kinda more popular based on the ones that people kinda were inspired to do their own little thing with. Anyway, this is version 1.0. He plans to basically have future releases that will be bigger and more complex. They'll be better for more players, and always just as awesome. It's been rigorously tested in Deathmatch by my friends over serial cables. Anyway, let's see here. It's basically made for probably like 2 to 3 players, nothing really that major in size. Like I said, it's mostly a modified version of Basin. I'm not sure how drastic the modifications are going to be, so I guess that's, well, something we're going to have to go look in and see. Anyway, let's see here. This was made using the 1.050 beta of Quest, and it took about 10 minutes at a time, but he would basically did it for 2 weeks on and off. So yeah, not really one I really dedicated much effort to. So anyway, it took about 20 seconds for QBSP, 9 seconds for light, and that's it. He doesn't actually tell us what the Viz time is. He just cuts it out with "and." Amazing. What a great typo that is. Just "and." The world may never know how long it took to Viz, people, because it failed to show up. Anyway, let's see here. It's been compiled to run in Quake version 1.01. Registered only? Yeah, I think the 1.06 version came out in October, so that doesn't surprise me at all that he said that. Anyway, let's load up this particular one. It's nothing really that fancy, apparently, but like I said, it is somewhat of a historical note, it does tie into other things, which kind of gives that importance. It's kind of like how you could definitely tell like Telecross had significance back in 1996 based on how many versions of it existed. So seeing something like this is, well, at least it's not another Telecross. That's really the catchphrase of this particular time. Thank goodness it's not another Telecross. So anyway, CVZ Basin. As you see, we spawn in the water. Enter in CVZ's Basin. It's very much like Entering Basin, but it has CVZs in it. And that means it's probably going to be a lot of copy and paste, isn't it? We will see, won't we? How much is the same and how much is different. The geometry looks kind of the same. Though it does look somewhat different. Yeah, it looks like he's modified some things somewhat. Like, the architecture here normally had, like, that giant elevator, and that's totally gone. Instead, now you have that sign there that says CVZ. I think these have been changed to be the opposite side, where you spawn on a different side than you normally would. And, yeah, normally this would be, like, a harder area to get into. This structure is still the same, but it's more open than it was in the original Basin. And I believe there was a super nail gun on this platform. Now it's a rocket launcher. And under here are the rockets. About here would be about the area where you'd have the elevator that would go up to the upper floor, which doesn't seem to exist. I'm not sure if there's a way to exit the level in this particular version like in the original Basin. Like I said, some drastic differences here, people. The geometry is the same, it looks like, somewhat. Like, the geometry is mostly inspired by the original. You can definitely tell where it gets its influences. But as for everything else, it's definitely different. I'm not seeing the nail gun. Originally, the original version base had like a nail gun on one of the sides. I'm not seeing that. Yeah, it looks a lot more devoid than the original version of Basin was. So let's see here, like you have the green armor here, but you don't have anything on the opposite side. The original version would have some ammo or something like that. Yeah, it feels like he cut down on a lot. You have your little gridded platform here, the center area. This is much like the original version of Basin. The double-barreled shotgun and the health on one side. That's like my compass or whatnot, so that's still very, very valid. You come up here, here's your CVZ sign, which is different, but it's on one of the platforms that's already existed. These two little platforms were part of the original Basin, still exist. As you see, it looks very, very similar, it's just missing that central platform. And that's kind of where the exit would be, right over there. So needless to say, we could even go over there and check and see if like there's a way. CVZ's on both of these, apparently. But yeah, there's little bits of ammo up here, nothing really spectacular. In fact, there's not many guns in this level, now I think about it. Did you just tell me that all the guns in the level are the rocket launcher and the double-barreled shotgun? Yeah, people! I kind of like the original version of Basin better. It had more variety in the guns. I mean, the rocket launcher is all well and good, but there's nothing to balance it out. The person with the rocket launcher can dominate the map because there's literally nothing else to go for. There's no real power-ups outside of one armor. And I think the armor's down there as well, isn't it? Yeah, it's on the first floor. So what's the point of coming up here? A couple ammo? I can't really see that being a major thing. I'd rather, like... I guess it's because you could, like, snipe up here or something like that. So it's like, you're more at a danger in the water, I guess. So I guess that's what he's kind of thinking. It's the idea that you're stuck with worse mobility in the water. But I don't know, it just feels like there's a lack of variety in this particular level that the original version had. Originally had like a nail gun, you had super nail gun, you had grenade launcher, you had plenty of different guns here. So seeing something like this feels somewhat like a downgrade in a way. Like I said, I don't think there's a level exit, but let's actually try and go where the level exit would be. Let's see here. So if this is... I believe this is the way forward, but I'll go to either side. And as you see, there's nothing. It's totally empty. So it's just one little tiny box that's even less impressive than the original Basin, which wasn't too big of a fancy. But yeah, needless to say, not really the most exciting of levels. Yeah. I was kind of looking forward to something a bit more involved than this. And yeah, it feels like, if anything, he just mostly deleted a bunch more than actually added anything. Yeah, it really didn't build much to the experience. I feel like I just played the same thing without the central elevator and with CVZ plaster on the walls. Needless to say, it's really not that amazing. I get he's a young person still, he's 16 or whatnot, but come on. If you're going to release something like this, at least make it a bit more interesting. There's been like Doom versions and stuff like that, but you'd have more drastic changes. Even the versions of Telecross at least had like different themes going for it, some purpose. So this feels like some vanity version of Basin. For the reset, I'm not really sure. What was the purpose of this release? What benefit does it serve? Besides being a modified version of a level that's already been made. Yeah, he's basically like, there will be a better version. I know it's not that impressive now, but there's going to be a better version. Then why'd you release this version? Especially since I'm not really sure many of these people came through on their promises, because why am I playing this version? Yeah, this version comes out nearly at the end of like October or whatnot, is like when all these files are like archived. And yeah, I'm not seeing any new version, buddy. So, did you forget? Did it come out later? I have no idea. Needless to say, it's kind of that little anticlimactic, to be continued, there'll be something better. Like I said, it feels like a demo, but if you're going to release a demo, shouldn't you make it, have some appeal? Shouldn't it be something that, I don't know, draws you into the experience? It just feels really, really weird to bring a demo of something that you're pretty much already saying is not really that impressive in any way. Like, I can understand, yes, it could be grandiose and better later on, but for the love of God, make it in some way interesting. Make it some way that it's your own, that I can at least say, this is a different level or something like that, and feels like its own distinct thing. I don't know, change the water at the bottom to be lava, and make it so you have to, like, jump on the platforms above. That alone would make for a very different dynamic to the level. As it stands, this is very, very minor. Like I said, you don't have that exit elevator. Like I said, it's really just doesn't feel like the biggest of deals in the world to me. Sure, you don't have the exit elevator, but at the same time, you killed most of the gun balance in the level. So, I just can't really see where we're going with this. Well, I guess that's beside the point. There's really not much more I can really talk about here. Thank you all for watching. It's been something, and I guess I shall see you all next time.